It was probably 20 minutes. All these state cops start coming into development. And then I could hear the helicopter. The helicopter, I knew it was out
Helicopter.
there. For a TV, I mean, damn, the TV was only $200. It'll bring out the helicopter. You wasted more fuel.
From battling substance abuse to emerging as a beacon of resilience in his community through his food truck, Bubz Grubz, Gary embodied triumph over adversity. Standing tall amidst his past struggles, he reshaped his identity, transcending survival to thrive. Prepare for this engaging dialogue as we delve into Gary's odyssey of setbacks, love, resilience, and ultimate redemption on the Hard Knocks Talks podcast. I'm Dan. I'm joined in studio by my wife and co-host Donna, and we're thrilled to share this conversation with you, so let's get at it. Gary, how are you tonight?
I'm doing well, man. Taking it one day at a time. I try not to go too fast. I usually trip myself up when I do that.
Is there anything you'd like to say before we jump in tonight?
I'm ready to rock. I'm going to put it all on the table, whether they like it or not.
Let's go!
This is Hard Knocks Talks.
All right, if you are struggling with the substance use of a loved one or have tragically lost a loved one to drug-related harms, reach out to Stronger Together Canada, peer-led support groups by Mums Stop the Harm. If you are in search of private inpatient addictions treatment, check out Prairie Sky Recovery Centre, located in Leipzig, Saskatchewan. To make contact or learn more about this episode's sponsors, check out our new merch, or if you want to show us some love and buy us a coffee, all those links are in the show notes below. I would also like to throw a shout out to Jason Mercredi from Métis Nation of Saskatchewan for inviting Donna and I to go and speak on our experiences and insights around child apprehension due to mental health challenges at the Our Children's Future Bill C-92 conference here in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. If you would like to foster productive conversations about mental health in your community or organization, feel free to reach out to me at daniel@hardknockstalks.com. When we spoke earlier this week, you've got quite a story, and you sort of started your story from the age of 6, I believe, when your dad got locked up for murder. Was that one of your earliest memories, or how did this all get started for you?
Yeah, that was a hard thing for me and my brothers and sisters, man. My mom had called us in and turned on the news, and there was my dad, picture of my father on there, Dover man wanted for murder. At that point in time, they had death penalty or death row in Delaware. So if you got sentenced to life in jail, a lot of times for murder, you were put on the death row.
Mm-hmm. And that was that something that was like being broadcasted on TV? Like, is that something that you remember seeing them telling you? Like,
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I remember going in the house. I remember seeing the trailer burnt up where he shot the girl, killed the girl, and set the house on fire.
oh,
He
man.
actually did it in Harrington, 30 minutes from where I live now.
So what were you thinking when that happened? Like, do you remember?
I can't lie and say I really remember as a child so much. I remember exactly what happened, but
Mhm.
I couldn't explain the fact that our dad was never coming home. We'd never see him again. And for the longest time, being so that he was on death row, he was behind a glass. So you could go visit him and put your hand up on a glass, but you couldn't touch him, you know? So that was really a hard thing. Me and him look identical. I mean, like twins. If you slapped us next to each other, we look like identical twins.
Was there a lot of substance use in your orbit? I mean, was that sort of at the source of what happened with your father?
My dad was a substance abuser, as well as a heavy drinker. Drugs and drug dealing have surrounded us as children, growing up. My grandmother was a drug dealer. I say she was a good drug dealer. I don't know if people say there's good ones, but she was a good one. She was a nice woman. I mean, she more so did what she had to do for her family. It wasn't about selling drugs so she can drive around in a car with some rinky-dink rims on it. She did what she had to do to provide for her daughters. She was a mother of all girls. All of her kids were girls. She didn't have any males. So as you can tell, being that they were all girls, there were some strong women around.
Yeah. And I, when you say things like that, like she was a good drug dealer, like back in the day, I think we all do the best that we can I don't think that we're all like, I mean, yes, there are some people out there that simply want to watch the world burn, and I won't disagree with that. But when I was out there using, I can't say I didn't come across some good people. Like I had people who were homeless that would feed me if I was hungry. I've had people give me pills because I was sick, right? So I get what you're saying there. So the drug dealing and being around substances and seeing substance use, that must have been what you would have described as normal from a young age. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I always said I was a young cat with an old soul. Kind of felt like I was a lot older than my age at the time. Like I was 12, 11, 12 years old, 13 years old, hanging around with 25, 30-year-olds, thinking that I was cool. It's cool at the time.
Mm-hmm. Were you going to school?
I was. I caught my first gun charge at 12 years old. Decided to go steal a gun out of a guy's house in a development, and me catching a gun charge at 12 years old, it made me an adjudicated delinquent, basically a felon before I turned 18. They almost tried to kick me out of school, but they didn't successfully kick me out. I didn't stop going to school until after my grandmother passed away in 2010. She battled with throat cancer since about 94, 95. And after she died, it kind of hit a fuck it point. I didn't care. I wasn't worried about nothing. I didn't care whether I lived or died. If you knew my grandmother, you would know like she held a special place in a lot of people's hearts. Like she was the reason why I say she was a good drug dealer is because she was like the safe haven. You could just meet her and she would bring you in, good or bad, and without judgment. She would give you a place to stay. She would give you money if you needed money. She was always trying to help. The trait that my mom has.
Got a comment coming in here.
Tiffany says, "Oh my God, totally had an experience once on the bus in Los Angeles. I gave a homeless man my sack lunch and the $2 I had on me. In return, he gave me a Hershey bar. It was the sweetest moment."
So you copped a gun charge at 12 years old. How old were you the first time you got loaded?
About 13. Well, I was 10 when I first smoked weed. When you say loaded, I'm thinking Percocets. I got on Percocets, opioids when I was 13 years old.
Wow. What was that like for you? The reason I ask is because like the first time I got loaded, I got drunk and like there was no caution. There was no like, this might be bad. I just went all in. Like, was it like that for you, or was the conversation around substances, even though your grandma was selling them and your dad struggled and all that, was there any conversations at home that were like, this is bad, you shouldn't do this?
Nah, not really. There wasn't no, it was kind of like, my mom was going at work and me and my brothers and my stepbrothers, and we was just doing whatever. And there was some older influences around that knew better, but they had us. There was a guy like Mark Peterman used to live at my mom's house, and he would be right down there getting high with us. Like he was really kid in the mind, and he just easily influenced. They'd be down there doing drugs. I remember my first pill was sniffing a 10, like all that Tylenol in them big old school bus 10s, man. I used to break it down and sniff that thing. Jesus.
Yeah, that's a lot of filler. A lot of filler in those 10s.
Yeah.
I remember trying to do what were those Tylenol 4s? Remember when we would get sick and just big horse pills, the Tylenol 4s?
Yeah.
Yeah, just like railing like a cup full. It's like a cup full of flour. So we laugh because we survived, I guess. I don't know. So
we also laugh at inappropriate things. So.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So
well, speaking of that, like I actually literally just had a conversation with my brother. Like I feel like one of my aunts, my mom's sister, she struggled with addiction our whole lives. Like we were literally, nothing could kill her. I don't care what kind of drug you got. I don't care how strong it is. She can do it and it would not kill her. Like she literally got in a car accident and broke her back in like 6 different places and walked way out into the middle of this field and came home and went to sleep at home like nothing ever happened. She woke up in the morning black and blue from this car accident. But I think we joked about her so much being on drugs that it kind of affected us, and we wound up turning into junkies too.
Because she was so indestructible.
Yeah, it was just like crazy.
So did it go sideways for you right away then? I mean, you got into perks at 13. Was it like all in right away?
No, I wouldn't say it was all in. My perk addiction was very bad. I mean, I feel like I struggled worse and withdrawed worse off of my opioid addiction than I did off of heroin. I was in juvenile detention facilities in the Stevenson house, and I was on medical watch, like med leave or medical attention, something that you couldn't be they couldn't lock you in a cell. They had to put you on a bunk in the middle of the floor where the staff members could watch you and make sure that you don't withdraw and die in the middle of the night. In that particular sense, I broke in a neighbor's house around the corner, and I broke into their house before and stole their TV and got away with it so fast that I went back to try it again. Well, the next time that I tried it, I had the TV on the back step and I had the PlayStation outside, and then people pulled up. And when they pulled up, they parked their car in the back, and one person was still in the car while the other person had come around to come in the front door. So when they came in the front door, I just took off running and ran straight into a briar bush and just started chugging like I was on the football field, like just chugging through the briar bushes, and ran all the way around my development. This lady, Miss Kelly, used to live over here in the corner, and she seen me tuck my hoodie up under the 18-wheeler truck bed that's over there, and I ran in the house, and I knew I was getting ready to go to jail. Like, not even, I'd say 20 minutes. It was probably 20 minutes. All these state cops start coming into development, and then I could hear the helicopter. I knew it was out there. Yeah, that's over
man,
TV.
I did some shit, man. I had actually one time I had the cop plane flying. Cause we got a plane here. We don't have a helicopter. I don't know why we got a plane.
Yeah.
But we have a plane, and then one time it busted me stealing copper. So there's that. But
Man.
I just feel like a helicopter is more dramatic.
For a TV, I mean, damn, the TV was only $200. It'll bring out the helicopter. You wasted more fuel.
Yeah, they spend more money on the pilot to get flying over top of you than that TV was worth, man.
So it used to be a thing, like we lived back to back. So our thing was, if they come to one house, we would run over to my grandmother's and hide. If they come to my grandmother's house, we run over to my mom's house and hide. Well,
Brilliant.
Now they started to come to both houses. Like they got locked down on you better come on both sides of the houses, because these kids, they're gonna run. They're gonna run.
Yeah. So that's how you went to jail the first time.
Yeah. They came and they was hovering over the house, and I didn't want to go out there, and by the time, like, when I looked out the window, and I mean, they had cops at the front door, the back door, and my back basement door. There wasn't no running, even if I wanted to. All over the TV.
Is that like, did they maybe know like that you were doing other shit? Did they maybe know what your grandma was up to? Like, come on, man, that sounds like a lot of fucking resources for a TV.
Yeah, no, they just, I guess that somebody had told them that it was me. And so they was just coming heavy for me, retarded. They wasted too much money. I could have just paid restitution or something. They didn't have to waste the helicopter.
Look at some comments.
Rochelle News says, I know you've heard it a million times, but we are so blessed to have been able to watch your growth and watch you make your dreams come true. We appreciate you.
I just had their daughter working with me tonight on the food truck.
Nice.
Oh, nice. And Monique Daniels says, I'm so proud of you for telling your story, and I love you, Bubba.
I love you too, Mookie. That's my cousin, Monique.
Mariah Chavez says, so proud of you, Bubs. You've overcome so much in your life, and to see you push through and come out on top has been a blessing. You kept your promise, and I will forever pray for your success. I love you. And our friend Onyx Knight says, we've all played Duck, Duck, Goose with the Popo.
But have you done it with the helicopter and like a SWAT team and probably like a bunch of other things? Thomas Monahan Jr. says, yard, house, car, ATV, dirt bikes. Gary didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, I was taking everything. I didn't care. I
So what was
literally one time I stole a lawnmower, and then it was down at my friend's house, and his grandmother started tripping and was like, the lawnmower's got to get out of here right now. So we towed the lawnmower with a four-wheeler, and in the process of towing it, the back wheels locked up and started screeching because my boy just kept going with the four-wheeler. Well, it literally had drag marks from down by the store, the little corner store, all the way to my grandmother's house. And then I picked it up and wheelbarrowed the lawnmower over under my mom's deck. And then we went to the state fair. And next thing you know, the cops come to the house. They followed the tracks right down the road. They followed the rubber tracks. And I remember my mom calling me and she was like, where are you at? I was like, I'm at the fair. She said, you better get your ass out here to the front because you're going to the police station and you're going to get this shit taken care of. I got the cops at my house and you're going down there. And I was like, man, I'm not going to no damn police station. She said, and they don't want to play with my mom. My mom fights men. Like I walked out there to the front and then I was ready to go to the police station and turn myself in. Cause I didn't want that smoke with my mom. Something about me and my addiction, like I go full speed. Like I don't stop. Like I was sniffing so many Percocets after my grandmother died. I really should have been dead. For the longest time, I really got away with it until 2012. I got locked up as a juvenile. I was 17 years old. They wanted to send me to Ferris, and my mom had went in there and was like, he don't need to go to a facility where he's going to come out worse than he went in. He needs to go to a drug treatment facility. So they sent me to this bridge program. It was honestly, the bridge program was one of the best things that's ever happened to me, but I just wasn't done with getting high yet. I went to this facility and they actually sent me to Temple University to get my GED. And I actually got a culinary arts degree from Bucks County Technical High School for cooking. And the program I was supposed to be in for a year, but they did a 6-month review. When I went for the review, they seen I got my GED. They seen I got the culinary arts degree. They were like, look, we're going to go ahead and discharge you at 6 months. So I got out a month after my 18th birthday. Everybody thought I was clean and sober, but I really wasn't. I had already relapsed.
We've got people telling war stories in the chat.
Yeah, Gwendolyn Ratliff says, remember when you had me trying to help you hide those 2 four-wheelers and we wrecked them both? Alicia Allen says, I got my first tattoo in your guys' basement.
Man, you got some people in the chat tonight, man.
Yeah, I got a lot of people, man, that really know me and know where I was at and what I went through, man. I was counted out, you know. I did so when I got out, like I said, I wound up full blown in my addiction. My children's mother, before she was my children's mother, she was battling with the drugs as well. And so when I came home and I had already relapsed, it wasn't long before we started getting high together. When my son was brought into this world, I was a full blown junkie. I used to shoot dope in the bathroom at the hospital, man. It's not nothing I'm proud of. You know, it's something I got to deal with and face for the rest of my life. Like I was really out there. I remember nodding out with my son in my arms while I was at the hospital. I was all high. You couldn't tell me nothing, man. I was a junkie. You know, I was a junkie. Addict. That's the thing. Like addicts get so offended by saying junkie, but I was a junkie. What else you want me to say? You want me to sugarcoat it or act like I wasn't man, I would steal from you, rob from you. I didn't care who you were, what you had going on. If I was going to chase that high, I was going to steal from you or do whatever I had to do to go get high. I mean, that to me, that's junkie shit. So yes, when we're addicts, we are junkies. There ain't no sugarcoating it. That's the problem with recovery now. Everybody wants you to sugarcoat it and not tell somebody about themselves. Nobody's going to get clean until they want to get clean. I don't care what you tell them.
When your son was born, was there any desire to change your ways? Like you just mentioned that you didn't, but did it enter your mind like maybe I got to shape up?
It did, but I was too far gone. Me and my children's mother, we was both getting higher than giraffe pussy. I mean, we was high. Like it wasn't no in between. Like we were both under the influence. My son was born into this world addicted. He had to get weaned down off of he had to get weaned down off of the methadone because she had the methadone in her system. So my son had to stay in the hospital for like 21 to 30 days, something like that. My son had to stay in the hospital. So and it was a deep situation.
Um,
And I say I didn't get clean. I didn't get clean till I went to jail.
yeah. Well, tell us about that. What got you sober? Like, what finally did it?
So in 2016, 2015, man, there was a lot of things that had went down in that year. There was a crazy accidental shooting at my mom's house. Really crazy accidental shooting. A gun went off in the house or outside of the house. Me and my brother were standing there. A gun went off. It shot through the house. It hit my nephew in the leg. Came out the back side of his leg, and then went into my stepbrother's hand. So two people got shot off a freak accident. My brother had to go to jail for this stuff. It was an accident. And in reality, my mom pulled the trigger, not meaning to. My mom reached out the window. My mom yelled out the window to my brother, "You're not leaving this motherfucking house with that gun on you. You just caught a charge with a gun. You need to give me the gun." My mom don't know anything about firearms. So my mom reached out the window to grab the gun, and the gun went off and shot through the house. And it was a 45. And my nephew, I believe he was 18 months old, 2 years old. I think he was 2 years old. And it shot through his leg, came out the backside, and went into my stepbrother's hand. Nobody even knew that my nephew was shot because, to be honest, he took it like a G. I mean, not to say it's cool, but he got shot and literally like sat down on the ground. He didn't cry. He didn't scream. He just sat down. And then my stepbrother, it's not funny, but it kind of funny. Like, we're sitting there, my stepbrother was like, "What the fuck? Oh my God, somebody fucking shot me. Somebody shot me." And we're all like, "What are you talking about?" Like, dude. And we were just like freaked out. Like we didn't know what the hell happened. At the time, me and my brother were just getting ready to go re-up on some heroin. Like we was ready to go get lit. And this all transpired in the moment. And I looked at my brother and it was just like, "So are we going to go see the dope man still? Or are we going to stay here and deal with the cops?" I'd say we chose to go see the dope man. We went and seen the dope man, and on the way over there, I told my brother, I said, "What do you want to do? Like, bro, we can run right now. Like, you got some money on you? I got the car. We go run. Like, we don't got to face this right now because we didn't know what was going to happen." My brother had to sit down for 2 years for this freak accident that went down. It was crazy. But in that same year, in 2015, I was dealing with this booster. His name was Rob Wilson. They call him Shady. He's a snitch, but he was a booster. He used to steal TVs and stuff from Walmart and would bring them to me and sell them to me, and I'd give him dope. You know, I was a drug dealer, so I'd give him the heroin in exchange for the TVs. Well, he was taking my car. I didn't care at the time. You know, I wasn't thinking nothing about cameras and shit. He was taking my car to go steal these TVs. Well, when they went and busted him, he told them that I had stolen property at the house. I had guns at the house, drugs at the house. And because of that gun charge, when I was 12 years old, it made me an adjudicated delinquent. So I couldn't own a firearm until I was 25. So at 20 years old, when he told the cops this, that's all they needed to get a search warrant for my house. You know, they got the search warrant and they turned around and come to my mom's house. I still remember it like it was yesterday. They come in, they banged on the door, Delaware State Police, search warrant. They come in and that was kind of I thought would have been the turning point. The mother of my children, her mom, she got locked up with me. Her mom took my son and her dope dealer around the corner called her and said that I got busted because I wouldn't sell her heroin. Her mom used to get high too. I wouldn't sell her heroin. So her drug dealer around the corner called her and told her that I got busted. And when they told her that I got busted, she come to the house, picked up my son, and went to the courthouse and filed for emergency guardianship of my son. So I go to jail, and then I got bailed out. I bailed myself out of jail and kind of went full speed on the getting high side of things. Like I didn't stop. I really went crazy. Like I went psycho. Like I started getting high very bad. I was shooting up heroin very bad. I used to shoot up 39 bags in a shot, 3 bundles of dope. I break it down in a big spoon and take it straight to the moon.
What did it take? What finally brought you into the recovery that you have today?
So after I bailed out that time, I got out on bail and caught 5 more cases while I was out on bail. And the last time that I stole some 4-wheelers, and this drug dealing snitched on me. I got a lot of people that snitched on me. That was that was 2016. In 2017, this dude, Danny Boy, sold my uncle and my brother some heroin. He probably would have killed me if I was home because we all used to cop from the same folks. He sold him some shit that killed him. You know, my brother overdosed, and they Narcan my brother 3 or 4 times. They brought my brother back. I remember calling home from jail to talk to my mom because my brother was finishing up his 2-year bid and I was getting locked up, going to jail for my stuff. So I remember calling home to my mom, and my mom was an asshole on the phone. She told me my brother died. Trying to hit me with a gut shot. She told me my brother died. So I hit the floor in jail. I really thought that I lost my brother. And she was, I guess, just trying to be hard on me. And I found out the next day when I called home that my brother had to go to ICU and whatnot. And my brother still lived, but they hit me with the news that my Uncle Lenny Jack had overdosed and died. He was working out in Maryland. I believe it was in Maryland. He worked for his Walter Higgins contracting with his brother Tom. And they found him with a needle in his arm, overdosed and died. I think that was the turning point for me because he was like an Iron Man. Lenny Jack was like an Iron Man. Like he was like big old stocky Lenny Jack. Like when we all used to get high together when we were junkies, but this man got in a car accident and split a Honda Del Sol in half. Like was 2 separate pieces and still managed to walk away from it. And they said he should have died right out there on the ground, and that didn't kill him. And then to know the heroin took him out of this world, that was kind of a rough one for me because he was 39 years old with 5 kids. And
what did you like? Did you go to meetings? Like, how did you get sober? How did you stay sober? Like, do you have peer support? Did you go to counseling? Like, how did that work for you?
I don't feel like I got to go to counseling every day. The meetings wise, I got on a medical marijuana program in the state of Delaware. Now right now I'm clean and abstinent, sober from all drugs. I don't drink, I don't smoke weed, I don't do nothing. But I was on a medical marijuana program. And the reason why I don't go to NA groups is because in their literature, starting out an NA meeting, they say weed is a drug. And my thing is, weed is just as much a drug as methadone and Suboxone is. So why don't you have literature saying methadone and Suboxone is a drug if you're going to clarify as weed being a drug? They're all drugs if you ask me.
Well, I mean, they talk about the literature talks about complete abstinence from all drugs, and the whole topic about Suboxone and methadone, it can be a pretty hot topic in certain groups and in certain church basements. You know, you're not clean if you do this, you're not clean if you do that. So I don't think methadone and Suboxone are seen any differently than marijuana is in those programs of recovery. Now, do I agree with those? You know, are you in recovery if you smoke marijuana? Are you in recovery if you're on Suboxone? I don't know. I don't give a shit. What I care about is, are you happy? I don't give a shit if you're clean or sober. If you're happy, that's kind of what I care about. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like I use the weed as an escape. It was another drug that made me escape my emotional side of things and the things that I was going through. So it wasn't until I was ready to put the weed down that I stopped smoking weed. In the process, I did a lot, like as in being clean and sober from the heroin. That was my kicker. That was what was killing me, was the heroin, the cocaine, the crack, the drinking, the whole nine. That's what was really messing me up. And 2020. 2019, when my daughter was born, I used to work on this food truck, this Fat Vinny's food truck, and the owner was taking advantage of me. He had me working and then wouldn't pay me, and then it was just like at one point in time he owed me $680, and I was like, yo, like, you got this big family and nobody wants to work for you. You got an Italian family at that, which is tight knit, and none of them want to work for you. That kind of speaks volumes in itself, because I got a big family, and if I call on them, they're going to come out and work for me. If I need somebody, my little sister, my brothers, whatever, they're going to come through and work for me. So when your own family don't want to work for you, it speaks volumes. So I got him down to owing me $280, and I walked away from him. I told him that one day I would own my own food truck one day. In 2020, I seen this food truck come on Marketplace. It had the stainless steel interior, the sink, the water tank, the electrical, just didn't have a hood vent, didn't have cooking equipment, had a messed up title with a messed up engine in it. But it had the interior that I needed. So I didn't have any money. I reached out to some folks. I needed to borrow money. What I felt like wasn't a lot of money at the time. I only needed $1,000. A lot of people told me no. A lot of people left me on red. I wound up coming about the money between me saving up and my mom helped me out. And I got this food truck and brought this food truck home. It literally, I was so broke when I got it. I had to get the food truck towed down to Smyrna from Wilmington, and then wait and save up some more money to get it towed from Smyrna, or from Wilmington to Smyrna, and then from Smyrna to Lincoln. So then I had this food truck, this old box piece of shit, sitting in my mom's driveway for years. And everybody's like, when are you going to junk this truck? When are you going to let go? I'm like, listen, shut the hell up. You don't see what I see. I see a food truck. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, I told myself I seen this food truck. I started cooking up at Olive Garden. The restaurant got shut down for roaches. And then they tried to hit me on raises. So I quit that job and went into the concrete field. Started making money in the concrete field. I learned a trade. Once I learned a trade, I wound up starting my own business. Disagreements led to this. I started my own business. My brother Tom, he got me linked up with his contractor. Rest in peace, Mr. Higgins, Christopher Higgins. We just lost him in October. He got me linked up with his contractor, and the job, I was out there for like 4 weeks, and that job really changed my life. Like, the fact of the matter is, I made more money in that job in 4 weeks than I ever did on any job in my life. And that helped me with the process of being a business owner for myself, because then I could afford to pay employees. I could afford to keep things flowing. And I saved every dollar I made. I stopped going to hang out at parties. I stopped buying new shoes. I just saved everything I made. And in November 27th of 2022, the end of my first year in business, this black box truck come on Marketplace. The guy wanted $6,500 for it. This Frontier Barbecue catering guy out of Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. I called him on a Saturday. I said, I'm coming up there. Like, I want this truck. He had it listed for 65. He said, dude, I got 1,000 people that messaged me about this truck. Are you going to come up tomorrow? You know, it's a Sunday. I said, I don't give a fuck what day it is. I'll be up there tomorrow. My brother Tim drove me up there. I got this truck, and it's 4 hours away from Delaware. I'm driving back home, and the rain hits. It starts raining. I hit the windshield wipers, and they don't come on. Like, and it's raining its ass off. So I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what am I going to do? Well, the pivots are frozen, or rusted, frozen solid. They won't move at all. So you can't rig it up to where you could move them. They will not move. On my way home, I'm coming up on these cars. I go to hit the brake, and the brake goes through the floor. So I'm scared as shit. Like, I'm in a 10,000-pound van, and I ain't got no brakes, no windshield wipers. It's raining.
Sober as fuck. And nowhere to run.
Oh, man. I mean, what they say, they call it Cali sober. That's what they call it
Yeah.
when you smoke a weed. They call it Cali sober. I smoked some weed. I was on cloud nine, but listen, I was scared. Like I thought I was about to run into the back of this truck, and I slammed the truck up in park. I remember I was coming down the highway. I slammed it up in the park and slammed on the e-brake. And luckily, the e-brake worked, thank God, because I would have wrecked smooth into this car. I literally was at a light where there's always traffic on the highway right here. I've traveled the road so much that I know there's always traffic on that road. And thank God there was no traffic that day. And I coasted right out into that lane and missed my turn and had to go up and turn around. And I drove on the e-brake all the way home with this box truck. So it was a fucking scary situation. You talk about your fucking asshole falling out, bitch. I was scared. Like it's not no in between. And I drove this truck to my bro's house. Like I said, he's got a hot rod shop, and I drove it to his house, and I said I wanted to build this food truck, and I literally stripped everything out of my other truck and put it into this truck. I watched a whole bunch of YouTubes, like a lot of YouTube videos, and I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but I know how to work hard, and I know how to make something happen. And piece by piece, night after night, I mean, cold as shit outside. I'm outside in his yard building this food truck out, and that's where Bubz Grubz came about. I was, let me reverse back just a little bit. So December 10th, I was sitting with my brother Rob and my bro Tom Binkley, and we're sitting in his living room smoking a blunt, and Tom was like, man, look, I got this race event, first state no prep drag racing event. He said, you can come out with your cooking equipment, pitch a tent with propane tanks and cook under the tents. I don't care about health certifications and all. Just come out there and cook. I looked at him dead in his eyes. I said, man, fuck that. I'll be out there in a food truck. He looked at me like I was crazy. He said, you going to build that food truck? You only got a little over 3 months. I said, I don't care. I'll be there in a food truck. His event was March 4th of 2023. And I called him March 3rd, and I said, bro, is it okay that I still come tomorrow? And he was like, the truck's done? And I was like, yeah, I ain't never cooked on the equipment, and I ain't got no tags on this motherfucker, but she done. Like, she good. She ain't had no graphics on it, nothing. I drove this bitch down there I had a square whiteboard, and my bro Tim wrote on the whiteboard. They
Bubz
call me
Grubz.
Bubba. My nickname is Bubba. Yep. My nickname is Bubba. So he wrote Bubz Grubz, Feed the Dream. And I think I had bacon burger and 2 or 3 cheesesteaks on the menu at the time. And that's where Bubz Grubz came about. Like, and in my food truck logo, I got the breaking chain symbol in the ribbon, the ribbon with the breaking chains. You know what I mean? Like, because I want to bring awareness to addicts that it's not about what you go through, it's what you grow through. Like, you can be anything you put your mind to be, but don't be held victim to your past and to your choices. You recover how you recover. I may not agree with Suboxone and methadone, but if it works for you, work for it. Work it how it works for you, because some people don't agree with me smoking weed. And to me, I really didn't give a fuck, because it kept me sane enough to not end up in jail like my dumbass dad. You see what I'm saying? So I really stayed clean because I was smoking weed to not kill nobody, because I go from 0 to 1,000. Like, there's not, if anybody seen me mad, I get so furious and I'm ready to blow some shit up, and I really don't think. But I feel like addicts always want to use an excuse to go get high. When I said I was done, I meant I was done. Let me tell you this, right here on my neck is my cousin. My cousin was 29 years old. He got highed up on heroin, was on his way home. He flipped his car on Canterbury Road in Milford, and he wound up dying. I literally walked the accident site with his little brother with a bag, picking up all his belongings that flew out of the window as the car was flipping. I literally picked up one of his cell phones and his skull can out of his blood on the ground. But I'll never forget picking the heroin bags up off the ground that were right there, almost like the cops left the heroin bags at the scene, like they wanted somebody to see it. Well, I guess they're not worried about the heroin bags when there's somebody dead on the ground, but literally the heroin bags still had heroin in them. So I think that was another like reminder for me of this heroin killed my cousin. He was 29 years old with a 6-month-old daughter that'll never know her father as the man that I know. Losing my cousin while I was in my recovery, that was hard for me because a lot of people use loss as a reason to go back and get high. Me, I've lost so many people that I've almost became numb to the loss. You see what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
I think the part of losing my cousin hurt more when everybody tried to act like he didn't die from the way that he died. Like he was struggling with the heroin addiction that everybody chose to look past and not acknowledge. And even though his choices killed him, enabling is the worst thing for an addict.
Let's look at some more comments.
Sarah Marie, excuse me, says, thank you for your comment, Sarah. Says, you are definitely breaking chains. You literally amaze me every day. I'm proud to call you my cousin. You've got me over here teary-eyed with sad and happy tears. And Onyx, thanks for your comment, says, life provides us with the tools to live our truth. You have the warrior soul. Everything happens by divine design. Bless your powerful journey to greatness. Aho.
So is that truck that you're sitting in now, is that the black truck?
Yes, sir.
It's amazing. You got any regrets?
No, like I everything that I went through made me the man that I am today, and I know you'd like in 2021, I went to court and fought for my children. I have placement over my son and my daughter. My son Dominic is 9, my daughter Gabrielle is 4, and they live with me. And that was one of the biggest accomplishments of my life because my son was a young man. I was a strung out junkie. And now my son can stand tall and say, that's my dad. Like the food truck, man, is his father. Like that is, you can't take that from my son. Like it's truly amazing. Last month, I fed 1,000 kids for free. Some people told me I was crazy, told me I needed to start a nonprofit, whatever. Man, I used to shoot up big heroin. So if I took a little bit of money to feed some kids, I'm grateful and blessed. It ain't about getting a tax write-off or knockoff for that. It's about I wanted to do that in my heart. I wanted to give back to these kids. If you've seen the smiling faces to everybody when, man, these kids were shaking my truck like a mosh pit at the middle school. And they were so happy, like so happy. And it was a school that I went to. I went to Mariner Middle School in the Cape and Lopin School District. And I went to that school. The first school I did was for my son. Like my son got to walk out of the school and see his dad's food truck out there for the first responders event. I paired up with the Delaware State Police, Detective Josh Hackney, and he got me in for the event. And he said, "Are you going to be willing to feed 500 kids?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll feed them all." Like I didn't think twice about it. The next event, he said, "Will you feed 700?" I said, "Yeah, I'll feed them all. It's not a problem." The first one I wound up feeding a little over 300. The next one I fed 700. And it was a humbling experience for me to be out there to know that some of the teachers that follow me on Facebook as well, seeing that I went from a heroin addict junkie to getting clean, get my life together. And the first thing that I wanted to do was give back to the kids. I want to give back to my mom. My mom did so much for me. I want to do for her. My mom, a strong woman, she got character traits like my grandmother. She wants to help everybody else, no matter how much it kills her. Mm-hmm. And I want to give back to her because she deserves it.
Where can people find you? Where can people follow you? How can people get a hold of you?
You can find me at Facebook at Bubz Grubz, BUBS, If you Google me at Bubz Grubz Food Truck Delaware, I'm going to come up there on Google because I got 5 stars. I should say 10. My grandfather, he Puerto Rican. He swear he don't got 5-star credit. He got 10. So I'd say I got 10 stars when it comes to these cheesesteaks because I swear I got the best cheesesteaks in Delaware. When you guys come from Canada and you get to try this cheesesteak, you'll understand. I got an Instagram at Bubz Grubz 302 and a TikTok at Bubz Grubz Food Truck. And I majority play around on Facebook. I haven't really built that one on Instagram and the TikTok yet. My majority of my marketing and stuff goes on Facebook. I do everything myself. I don't pay nobody to do my subscriptions and stuff. Every single post that's on my page is for me.
Mm-hmm. Looks like we got a reason to go to Delaware.
Yeah.
Say there's someone out there tonight living what you were living, thinking about finding a safer way, don't know how. What would you say?
I'd say believe in yourself, man. Believe in yourself, because nobody's coming to save you, man. These you can't say that everybody else is to save you. In recovery, they say follow your sponsor or whatever. But what happens when your sponsor relapse and gets high? Does that mean that you're gonna relapse and get high too? No, you got to stand on your own 2 feet comfortably, because when you make that choice that you're not gonna get high, that you have no reservations in the back of your mind to relapse, you will stay clean and sober. And I'm living proof that it's possible, because I used to shoot up a lot of heroin, and now you couldn't pay me to get high. If you said I give you $1 million right now, but tomorrow you got to go and to being a full-blown junkie again, I wouldn't take that $1 million. I'd rather stay clean and sober and build myself up to make that $1 million instead of taking it fast. Anything fast ain't good.
Mm-hmm. Thanks so much for joining us tonight, man. Yeah, very impactful story. I can see you on stages already, my friend. I know you're going to maybe stand on top of that food truck and deliver your keynotes. So
I'll be a motivational speaker one day. That's guaranteed.
Yeah, I think you already are, my friend. But that's it for us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. Take care.
Absolutely. You have a blessed evening.
All right, if you got something out of tonight's show, hit that like button at the bottom of the screen. If you're not yet subscribed to Hard Knocks Talks on YouTube, click that subscribe button. Turn on those notifications. We go live every Friday morning, every Sunday evening. We got lots of content for you to catch up on. If you don't have time to sit and watch us, you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Google's Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. That's it for us tonight. Take care, everyone.
Say, this is Hard Knocks Talks.